Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Gary A. Swaby, and you're now listening to Powercast episode 25. And I'm here with Miss Dana Abercrombie. How you doing, Dana?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, indeed. Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. can't make it this week because he's away on family business at the moment. So it's just me and Dana, and we just got done watching this this interesting episode of Power. So let's dissect it and talk our theories and thoughts and everything. I'm just going to run through some of the things that happen, and then we'll just get straight into what we think of the situation. So at the top of the episode, we had Tommy informing Jamie and Kanan that Teresi is out, and Jamie kind of yells at him, and he warns him not to tell Teresi anything because he knows Teresi knows a lot of dirt on Jamie and stuff like that. So yeah, Jamie wasn't happy to hear about that. Later on, there's a scene with just Ghost and Kanan actually suggests dropping Teresi, aka killing him. And Jamie says he has a plan. Later on, we see a scene where Jamie's yelling at Tasha because they've got go to a fundraiser for Raina's property, the property investment thing they're doing and everything, the memorial. But Tasha, she's sleeping and she's not really feeling it. So they argue about that, and Jamie tries to guilt trip her. Um, Teresi is reunited with the Italians, and even when he's reunited, one of Vincent's own men is saying that it's kind of suspicious that Tony Teresi just got out just like that, and he's kind of questioning it and stuff like that. Um, Later on, we see Tate meeting up with Dre to try and get him to become the face of the project. This comes after Jamie kind of messes up a speech about Raina because he thinks he sees Raina in the audience, and he jumps off stage and goes to find her, and it's a very awkward moment. So Tate, he feels Jamie's not up to being the face of the campaign, so he's actually meeting with Dre, interestingly. And then later on, Proctor calls a meeting with Jamie about Teresi, and he warns Jamie to kind of stay away from Teresi and don't let him know about anything that's going on because he knows that Mock has something to do with Teresi being out. So Proctor just kind of warns Jamie about that. Angela and her colleague interrogate the new Toro Loco leader, and he snitches on Jimenez and lets it be known the location that they're going to be meeting at. Later on, Tasha meets Terry Silver, and Terry, kind of persuades her again to distance herself from Jamie and everything because there's an investigation going on. Um, Alicia, which is, the sister Jimenez, she forces her brother to give Dre the money for the club and everything that he owes. And then, Dre leaves with Cristobal. And then right then and there, Tommy is also watching in the background. But as soon as Dre leaves, the feds come in and they bust the Jimenez. And, this is like a big moment for Angela when they get them back to, the the headquarters and everything to interrogate them. The guy that Angela slept with last week called Steve, he actually steps in and he's like, nope, sorry, I can't let you do this. I can't let you interrogate them. I'm coming to get them out. So, clearly there's something mysterious about him, and we're going to talk about that. Um, and then Tasha actually ends up leaving Jamie. And yeah, there's like a dramatic scene there where Jamie comes home and he sees all these bags, and the young one, she's all ready to leave and everything like that. And then yeah, Tasha tells him that she's leaving him. There's a scene where the Proctor's house is invaded and raided and everything because they're looking for evidence relating to the Homeland Security agent Bailey's murder, and that's also coming from John Mock, the investigator, because he's really trying to get Proctor to talk, basically, because he knows Proctor can give up the dirt on Ghost and Tommy. So he really wants to put him in a position where he has to talk. Um, and then Jamie is brought into a meeting with Tate. Tate invites him into a meeting, and he's caught off guard when he sees Dre there. And, Dre accepts Tate's offer because he knows that he's weak now with the Jimenez locked up and the feds on the Jimenez. So he wants to keep Jamie in line by, taking Tate up on his offer and becoming the face of his project, because now that means that Jamie can't just go out and murk him like that, because, there's business involved now. And then Kanan does some very calculated things. He sets up a fake drive-by on the Italians, and then he turns up and kills the people that he tells to do the drive-by. And this kind of sets up a scene where Kanan is talking to Vincent, and Vincent is kind of asking him why those guys were coming at, shooting at them. And he basically asks, is it because Tommy is still involved in the street war or whatever? Because, obviously Tommy said that stuff was over. So Kanan was like, yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was about. So right there, we're going to talk about that more, but that was an interesting scene. And there's a scene where, Tony's talking to his wife, and even she figures out that he's a snitch, that he's a rat, basically, and he confesses to her. And then, Tommy actually shows up. And the final scenes are basically, Jamie returns home, and, he's feeling all hurt and sentimental and everything and emotional. And then he finally gets the call he's been waiting for. And at the end, we see that, he's in a diner, and who else but Angela Valdez walks in. And yeah, they have a little kind of touching scene right there. And there's a lot to unpack with that. But yeah, interesting episode. So let me think where we should start. So let's start with the Teresi stuff and work our way into some of the other juicy details. But so Teresi, so it seems like everyone's pretty much figured out that he's a rat, basically. So I, like me personally, I don't feel like he's gonna last very long, because it's like the Italians think he's a rat, his wife thinks he's a rat, Tommy thinks he's a rat, Jamie thinks he's a rat, Kanan, like everyone, like literally everyone is suspicious of him. So it's like there's no kind of mystery behind it, and we know now that he actually is a rat, because last week it was a bit, we didn't know, we was a bit 50-50 if, like, if he was actually playing the cops or something. But now we know he actually is ratting, so it's like, what do you feel about Teresi now after this episode, and where do you think that that's going to lead?
I honestly think that this is the weakest of the storylines because it's just so transparent. You have a guy who's serving life, and then all of a sudden he's free, and without much explanation. So obviously, you're gonna think that it's because he's a rat. Either he ratted someone out, or he's going to rat someone out. I don't see his character lasting very long, and honestly, I think it would be very great if it was Tommy that took him out. I know everyone is like basically just plotting to kill him essentially, and it'll just be a guessing game as to who. But Tommy, as much as he may want a relationship with him, he's kind of cautious, and I still believe that he's not going to be desperate, and so he's going to have that bit of cautiousness in the back of his head, and he's going to come to the realization that he came near the rat, not necessarily him, but he's going after for Ghost. And, maybe at the end, Tommy will see that and will see that he has to be taken out. But also, what I find very interesting is that if you look at this episode, you see Ghost and Tommy splitting, taking separate paths, and Kanan is just like rejoicing for joy because remember, that way he can get to Jamie. So I do believe that the whole situation with the father is going to be very short lived. But because Tommy is distracted at the moment, he won't come to the realization right away that his father is essentially a rat. But I do hope that he's the one that takes him out.
Yeah, I think he already has suspicions that because like
Yeah, true.
he's been very careful with what he's actually telling his father. Like there's a few parts in the
Right.
episode where he chooses not to tell him stuff. So I think at the back of his mind, he's like,
But right
you know,
now, because remember, you see that split is happening between Ghost and Jamie. So he may end up actually saying something, maybe out of anger to his father about Jamie.
yeah, I mean that's a possibility. Um, But yeah, I do think Teresi's not going to last very long. I think it's just a matter of who's going to kill him at this point, whether it's going to be Jamie, Tommy. I think it's probably going to be Tommy just because, that would be more of more of an emotional scene, I guess, son killing his father, allegedly his father, because,
So you know.
we got to question that now because we don't even know. But, yeah, I think that would just be a more powerful scene to go with for Tommy to end up killing him. But I just don't see how much longer he can last because literally everyone thinks he's a rat already. So, but also killing him is going to have ramifications too because he is working with the feds, so they're keeping a close eye on him. So whoever does end up killing him, that's going to put them in the eye of the feds instantly.
But I
'Cause
wonder if feds really care. Like, is it essentially one of those if he dies situation?
yeah, but I mean, they can use that as leverage though. If somebody kills Teresi, that's
Yeah.
extra leverage they can use against whoever does it. They're already trying to get Tommy and Jamie. So if Teresi ends up dead, that's like cause for them to just get more aggressive with the investigation. So
Yeah.
um but yeah,
I,
interesting. Like, because I feel like last week they set up this whole Teresi storyline really well to where it left us wondering. But in this episode, it's kind of like they just laid it bare. Like now we know he's a rat, like straight up and down. Like there's no mystery behind it. So
right.
I feel like this is probably going to conclude pretty soon. Because if it gets drawn out, then it's probably going to be it's going to feel a bit lazy. I think so. I think this probably needs to wrap up next week or something like the whole Tourette's
Yeesh.
thing. Because there's a lot of
No,
other stuff going on. So
you're not wrong about that. Like I wouldn't mind it wrapping up by next week because everything is just hitting the fan and it's just so apparent. And then remember he told I can't remember the woman that he's basically a rat. He's telling people.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. What did you think? What do you think Kanan is doing? Because like remember at the start of the episode, he's talking with Jamie. There's that scene where it's just the two of them talking, and Jamie's like he's got a plan. But what do you think was Kanan's motive was? Because what he did is basically he set up a fake drive-by, and then when it happened, he swarmed in and killed the shooters himself, and then he earned the trust of Vincent at that moment. And then with that trust, he basically told Vincent it was the street war. Now, telling Vincent that will make Vincent question Tommy and Sammy because Sammy lied. Like when that scene when the two hitmen ended up dead, and Tommy had to kind of confess what happened and everything. And then he ends up lying and saying that he already took care of, the street war that was going on or whatever. And Sammy actually lied for him out of respect for Teresi. So now that Vincent knows that it's not really over, he's that means he knows that both Sammy and Tommy lied to him. So he's probably going to want to retaliate on those two people specifically. So what was Kanan's motive behind doing that in the first place?
See, I was slightly confused as well. And I originally thought it was to get on the good side of Tommy and the Italians. I was just really confused by that whole situation. I know that his overall motive is to drive a wedge between Tommy and Ghost. So I honestly don't know. Maybe it is to make it seem that Ghost is more there for him than Tommy is. So that could be one of the things. Because I
Yeah,
honestly don't know. But I kind of feel like the whole thing is for him to get back at Ghost. And so he's stepping in between them any way that he can.
yeah,
And he wants to come out as the hero in all of this. So that's what I think it is. I think it's some weird setup so that he comes out the hero, so that Tommy ends up trying to trust him and be more on his side.
mm, yeah, like yeah. I mean, I think this is Kanan playing his own cards. I don't think he did this on the instruction of Jamie, because I don't think Jamie would want to directly put Tommy in the line of fire like that. Um, so I think this is Kanan playing his cards, and this goes to show that this whole trio thing that they kind of built up, Kanan's still operating by himself, it seems like, and he's got his own objectives. And I think he's looking to take over like the whole drug game, like the whole of New York, basically, the New York underworld. So I think that's probably what he's trying to do. He's trying to, you know, get in, because last week, he was obviously manipulating Dre's crew and everything, and now he's manipulating the Italians. So it's like, I don't know, like maybe he's just trying to, like, one step at a time. He's trying to build his, like, climb his way to the top of the crime underworld, basically. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
but it's very calculating and very manipulative the way he does it, and that's what I like about his character. Is he's so grimy. Yeah.
he's just so grimy.
Yeah.
No, he's very untrustworthy. And at the end of the day, you have to remember that Ghost is out, not Ghost, I'm sorry. Kanan is out for himself. So he's trying to be Captain Save the Hope for himself. He's the hope that's he's saving.
Yeah, yeah, you can see it that way. Um, uh, okay, so Tasha throughout this episode, they're building up the tension between her and Jamie and everything, and it eventually leads to her leaving. Like, she straight up leaves. Like, she packs all her things. She takes the young daughter with her. I guess we're assuming at this point that Tariq is at the school, so he's not around. So yeah, she just ups and leaves. There's a few. Well, there's one scene where she's talking with Silver. There's a scene where she's talking with her mother and everything, and she's expressing, how she feels, and how she's just not happy with the arrangement with Jamie anymore and stuff. So, what do you think is in the future for Tasha, now that she's, up and left Jamie?
I would like this to be the rise of Tasha. That this is, she goes on and she becomes her own woman and she doesn't rely on Jamie and she doesn't go back to Jamie and that she, just goes off and finds happiness. But it's just really kind of interesting how they try to play these I'm always there kind of parent roles, and they haven't been, especially the part when she was laying in the bed. Remember when she was depressed and she had the sleeping pills and she's yelling at him and she's like, you're not dealing with her death the same way as I am. Um, I just think that I understand where she's coming from, grieving and everything, But just overall, I wish they would have established more of that parental type of bond with the kids so that this scene would be more believable and that her depression with Raina would kind of be more believable. But overall, I really do hope that she just goes off and finds herself and she becomes her own person. But we already saw, remember, they did the preview for the next episode that she's going to run back into the arms of that. Oh, I can't remember the guy that she was with in the previous season.
Terry Silver.
Yeah, him. So I hope he's just a rebound, and then she goes off and she finds herself, and then that's it. But I just don't know. But that's what I really hope. I hope she just does not go back to Jamie, and she doesn't go back to that other guy. He's just like some random jump off, and that's all.
Yeah.
But I really wish that they worked more on them being more of like these type of parents who was there for their kids. Because remember in the last season they were both absent parents. You
Yeah.
had Teresa run off with Kanan, and Raina was doing her own thing. So, uh, I didn't really feel it. I understood what they was trying to do with it, but I just didn't feel it. But overall, I do want her to go away and just be her own self.
Yeah. You know what I always find funny about Jamie and Tasha? It's like it feels like no one actually ever cares about that third child, like the young girl, like because she's like hardly ever seen, she's hardly
Right.
ever mentioned. Like
What?
in that one scene, this episode where Jamie comes home and she's there, I was like, wait, whose kid is that? Like, who the hell is that? Like, I didn't even know. Like, I forgot they had another kid. Like, legit. So yeah, like that. I always find that funny that they have a third child, and it's like there's like no attention paid to that child at all. But but
See,
yeah,
that's why stuff is like just random and forced.
yeah. I mean, I
So,
guess they only have so much time and they have so many characters and stuff. But yeah, it's just funny to me. But I do feel like this season is really setting Tasha up to be like a strong, independent, female woman, and she's showing a lot of strength in her emotions as well. Dealing with Raina's death in her own way and everything. So she's becoming a really good, solid character. So I hope that she does break off on her own and become a strong figure within the show as well. Um,
mhm.
I'm not sure where she'll fit into the future storylines because we don't know where they're going yet. But I'm sure there'll be a place for her, and I think she's going to be a very important character later on, especially with everything that she knows. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with her.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, let's get to Proctor. So Proctor, the pressure is put on him a lot in this episode, and one thing I gotta give Proctor credit for, and he's also a good actor. I think I'm not sure on the actor name, but he's a very good actor, I think. But there's a lot of pressure put on him, and he still manages to show strength as a character. Like he doesn't break at all. Like nothing breaks him, and I like that about him. Like he's just always cool and calm, collected, and everything. But there's a few scenes, we see his baby mother come in. And she's obviously an addict and stuff, but she's trying to get clean. So the fact that they're highlighting the whole relationship, the daughter, with his daughter and his his ex and everything, I feel like they're setting something important up for Proctor. That's going to take place. Just the fact that they're trying to add more layers to him and add more background to his character, I feel like there's something very important coming with Proctor this season. And of course, we see that Mock is trying to stack the cards against him. He's trying to apply pressure and make it so that Proctor will break and we'll have to talk at some point. But so far, Proctor's doing a good job of keeping himself collected and not giving up anything. Even when the feds raid his house and they're looking for evidence of a murder. Like he shows no sign of like panic or anything. Like he's just worried about his daughter, of course. But it's like he knows that that murder actually occurred in his kitchen, but he shows no sign of worry at all. Like he's just calm, collected, and he even believes that nothing is going to be found, at all. So like I really like Proctor's character right now, but what do you think is incoming for his character with
See,
everything that's happening?
I got the opposite. I felt that while he showed no emotion on the outside, in the inside, it looked like he was freaking out to me, especially when they showed the shot of them raiding the daughter's room. I remember like her stuffed animals are being thrown everywhere, and the daughter's like this look of being just purely terrified. I think that he is freaking out just a little bit, and I don't know, he may actually flip solely because he has the most to lose. He has the daughter that he's going through. He has the career. Remember, he's trying to come back being a lawyer. He doesn't want to lose his daughter. Remember, they have the custody, which he thinks that she can get custody of the daughter just because she's 30 days sober, and she goes and has this long monologue, and he's looking at her like she's crazy. So he may actually flip just because of that alone. And he is, remember, he was the one who started texting Jamie after he told Jamie that we can't see each other anymore. Remember, he was very adamant to stay away from him and that it doesn't look good and to, just don't, be involved and have everything, clean your hands and everything else. And he's the one like freaking out and texting Jamie saying, we need to talk. We need to talk now. So I think he's freaking out. He may crumble. I just don't know. It might be too much for him.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to cover all bases of where they can come at him and stuff. But I do think that something is going to happen with his family, his daughter, and or his baby mother, and I think that's going to be where he really starts to crack and possibly starts talking about what he knows. So I think something is probably going to happen with his family, and that's going to be like the breaking point of Proctor. So we just gotta wait and see what happens there. Oh, there was a scene that I didn't mention before where the internal affairs woman she was actually put off of the case last week, but she's still carrying it on. She's trying to find out what's going on, and she interviews I guess it's Angela's kind of like tech support guy, or well, I don't know if he's actually tech support, but he helps Angela with a lot of stuff. And Angela actually used his login to delete those files related to the Ray's murder and stuff like that. So she's actually interrogating him. So clearly she's carrying on the investigation on an individual level. So do you feel like that's going to escalate and come back on Angela?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think so as well. Because remember, they never really dismissed the whole DA woman and that whole case thing that they may be having against her. Remember, her own people don't even like her and they're trying to turn against her. So yeah, everything should go back and bite her in the behind. And remember the whole situation with the guy. And he's like, they thought he was like, oh, I just have an office in DC, and like come to find out, I think he's like the head of the DEA by the time they're done and over with. He probably discovered, DEA and runs the whole thing.
We're gonna get into that.
It's gonna come back at all because it was kind of weird. Because remember, like he just kind of came in out of nowhere, literally. It was like, no, this is my case now. You can't be here. And then he started sending her those weird text messages. I miss you. I can't stop thinking about you. So yeah, I think that she may not go back to him just solely because she feels butthurt about the whole situation. But I do see her slipping up and him, being nosy and trying to find out why she's acting that way. She's getting it from all ends right now, and it's not gonna be good for her.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, okay, let's get straight to we're going to touch on obviously the what happens in the final scene. Jamie and Angela kind of meeting finally. But before we do that, let's get into some of the individual things that happen to them throughout the episode. In their own personal lives and stuff. So since we just brought it up, Angela, she makes a big deal about bringing down the Jimenez, and she actually brings it to fruition. And then, just as she's about to interrogate them and get all the, the nitty gritty details, the guy she slept with last week called Steve, the mysterious guy, he swarms in and he's like, nope, he just, takes it away from her just like that. And yeah, obviously that leaves her kind of disturbed and she feels used. And so what's your thoughts on that whole thing? Obviously you've already started talking about it, but what do you think is the purpose of this guy Steve being there? And like what and how do you feel like about the fact that he just came in and took away that big bust from her?
I
Where does that leave her now in her job? Like,
I think it would be very interesting if he's been watching her the whole time. Because I don't fully recall her telling him about the case. Remember, like before their first encounter was, remember them randomly bumping into each other in the hallway and the papers go flying and they go meet for dinner and then he's like, "Oh, give me your phone." And he puts the phone away. But everything just seems to be too coincidence. So I think that he's been watching her for a while and that maybe he maybe one of the people who's working also with the what do you call it? The internal affairs as well, and he may also be the one that brings her down. Cuz it just doesn't make any sense. Cuz all of a sudden it's like, "No, you're off the case, Angela." It's like, "How did he even know how did she know that she was working the case? Where did that come from?" So, yeah, I see something more with this guy.
yeah, I mean, I think she did tell him last week that she was working on the Jimenez bust. But yeah, like we
Like
speculated.
role of what she's playing. She didn't say like she was the one who was trying to lead the thing. She was like, "Oh, I'm just trying to work on the case." But he
Yeah,
came in there and was like, "No, stop it, Angela. I'm here. You can't have nothing to do with this." Like
yeah,
he knew more information than what she told him.
yeah. He's definitely got some high ranking role, like job and everything, and obviously like the reasons he had to let the Jimenez go is because they're so well connected in Mexico and stuff like that. So he deals with political stuff, it seems like. So he's like he's a really high pay grade of whatever he does. And I do feel like he used Angela as a means to kind of be there, when this bust happened and everything like that. And he, like you said, he probably had knowledge of what she was working on ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Just
that's
even where they met. "Oh, I'm gonna just bump into you. Oh my god, it's so random." Really?
yeah, yeah, he definitely knows some stuff. But where do you feel like this leaves Angela now? Because I think she's very vulnerable in her job now because she was really banking on this big boss to solidify her position, and she was probably going to get, I don't know if she would have got another promotion, but she would have been seen as, a really, she would have gained a lot of respect basically from this bust. And
Whoa.
now, like, her colleagues already don't like her. So it's like now that this is gone, she doesn't have this anymore. It's like it puts her in a very vulnerable spot where it's like she has
Yeah.
nothing major that she's working on, and everybody else is out to get her in the office. So like, what do you think is going to come from that?
Well, we kind of saw where it comes from that. I mean, she's in her feelings. She's lonely. She's hurt. She doesn't have anyone. She's heard about the guy. She's heard about the case. So she's going to go and flee into the arms of Jamie. And Jamie's dealing with his own situation. And, his woman no longer wants him anymore. So we already know where that's going to end up. right there. She's going to just end up falling again for Jamie and start continuing to cover for Jamie and get herself into even more trouble. And eventually it'll lead to her downfall. That's how I feel. But I just wanted to say really quickly, if we could just go back for like 1 second with the DC guy. I can't remember his name, but basically the random, I just bumped into you, but I'm in charge of your entire case and I just took it away. That guy. I was slightly confused about the interrogation scene where it kind of felt like he was letting the Jimenez brother go, maybe because he was working on the inside with them as well. So that part was just kind of weird. And then also remember when we were talking to the sister, and it was kind of like, well, you're going to have to take him out yourself. So I don't know if they're trying to get it where they end up killing each other, the brother and the sister.
Yeah, there's definitely some tension there, and
It feels like they're trying to eat them up to kill each other, though. And the guy, it kind of, for me, I was slightly confused as to whether or not he was within the cartel, like one of the bad guys.
I don't think he's in the cartel. He might be a little dirty, but I don't think he's like actually a part of it. But yeah, he's definitely kind of, well, he hinted at Alicia, Jimenez. He hinted that if she wants to resolve the issue with her brother, she should get rid of him herself. Right. So he's definitely, kind of manipulating a little bit and trying to play them against each other, because just the fact that he's saying that, and he's supposed to be someone of authority, and he's telling her to do that. So yeah, he's definitely a little dirty, for sure.
That's what I kind
of. But yeah, that whole Jimenez situation was interesting as well, and I feel like that's gonna have a lot of ramifications on Gray. I feel like the brother probably is going to end up dead, and then Dre is probably going to run the whole operation alongside Alicia, like, because it seems like they got some kind of chemistry going. So that's a possibility, I think.
It is, but the whole thing with that, and we'll get later on into the scene that I died laughing of, but I think that I still believe that Dre's in over his head. And I just don't see him lasting that long. And we'll get into that later on as well. But I think Dre's success is going to be very short-lived. I do see the sister killing the brother. That I do see. And remember, she was the one, remember the whole gun situation, the gold gun? She was the one who planted the gun.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Wait, she was? Oh, yeah.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's been trying to take him out for a while now. And maybe he'll come to the realization that it was her the whole time, but it'll probably be too late. Maybe it'll end up being Dre. Because Dre could be manipulated. He's being manipulated by Tate.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's get into that as well, because that ties into what I was going to talk about with Jamie. So Jamie's definitely, like, he's obviously having a lot of tension with Tate, and for Tate to go and talk to Dre about being the face of the campaign, that's a direct sting against Jamie, because he knows that those two probably hate each other right now. So yeah, and then we have that scene that you was texting me about where Jamie shows up to the meeting, and he's got that shocked face when he sees Dre there, and then he's forced to act like he's embracing Dre and everything. And yeah, like how do you think that's gonna play out?
I was just so angry. Like, why is Dre still alive? I don't get it. You had him at the graveyard. You had him before. You had Tariq doing his weird little texting thing. You're in the same room with him, and the man is still not dead. I don't get it. But here's the thing. I don't. Lorenzo, not Lorenzo, I keep calling him Lorenzo because his name is Lorenzo Tate, but Tate, creative that they went that way. But Tate, I don't think that he fully knows that the whole thing between Ghost and Jamie, not, I just said Ghost and Jamie, between Ghost and Dre, I don't think he even knows that they kind of dislike each other. I just think it's just one of those weird coincidences. And I think he is not technically getting back at Jamie. The thing with Jamie is that, remember in the previous episode when he slept with the client? I feel that he's reckless and he doesn't want someone who can be easily distracted and reckless. You don't want to be known as the guy who gets your partners because you just sleep with them all the time. That's not exactly the reputation that you want, even though Tate is a very shady character. He's not that shady where he's willing to sleep with people for the $12 million, or maybe she just didn't want him. But the thing is that he's too reckless. And Dre, right now, because he doesn't know the full story, is more stable. And that he can be the face of a company right now. But the whole thing was just hilarious to me. And just further proves that Dre he just won't die. This is ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, like the whole arrangement between Jamie and Tate is kind of weird because it's like Tate actually needs Jamie more than Jamie needs him. I think like Jamie is using the whole situation as a means to grieve for Raina because he doesn't want to actually show the emotion. So he's using this project as a means to, vent his frustration at the loss of his daughter. But Tate actually needs this. Like he's actually using Raina's death for his campaign for, as a means to get, the whole project off the ground and to help his personal campaign. So he really needs Jamie. So even if he's bringing Dre in, he actually needs Jamie because like his daughter is the whole purpose of why this is happening in the first place. So Jamie, he needs to like get smart. He needs to buckle up and realize that he doesn't need this and he should just like sever ties with Tate because it's not looking good for him right now.
No.
And the fact that Dre's involved was like that adds a whole nother layer of like I'm interested to see how they're gonna write this because we know that he wants to kill Dre. Like they're supposed to be killing Dre, and now he has to work with him. So like, how is this even gonna work out? Like it's really weird.
See, I have the exact opposite reaction to that. I feel that it's Jamie who needs Tate. Tate can find any other grieving father to help build a memorial and look like the good guy so he can run for governor. Jamie, right now, remember, he has to stay clean as much as possible and to not go back to his old life, which I do feel is calling him back. Remember that whole I need my money to be clean. Can we run it through the club? And again, we don't know who's running the club. It's just this magical club that Luke Cage, I guess, took over. Remember that? So Jamie right now needs that image because I feel that he can slip up. Remember when he stabbed the drunk guy? He can easily slip up and go back to that whole life of crime. So it's him that needs, as oily and sneaky as Tate is, it is good for his image. He's hooking up with politicians. He's doing right things, but this memorial, he's trying to raise funds and everything else for his daughter. And he's trying to come back looking as the reformed drug dealer guy. So he's the one who needs it. It's not Tate. Tate can latch himself onto anyone and to any project. The meaning of politics, that's what politicians do. They run around, they kiss babies, they shake hands, they make deals. So that's what I feel about this whole situation. And by bringing Dre in, it was just so that he can run this more smoothly because Jamie is just reckless. So that's what I feel about this situation. I see the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the Dre thing. That's why Tate wants Dre because he's more calm and, well, he's more calculated at this point than Jamie is, because Jamie's running on emotion. But
But
like
Jamie needs Tate more than the other way around.
well, I don't know, because it's like Jamie just lost his daughter, so it's like I feel like it would be completely fine for him to just say, I'm not doing anything for the next 6 months. I'm just sitting at home grieving my daughter. Like
That,
he literally doesn't need to do anything at this point.
but
And
he
that's,
can't do. Even Tasha said, "You just can't sit down and grieve." Remember, they had that argument in the closet, where he's like, "I can't show my emotions the same way that you do.
yeah.
I can't be here the way that you want me to be." He has to stay busy, or else he's going to do something harmful.
Yeah,
He's
and
not the type.
that's his problem. Yeah, I agree with that. That's the problem he has, because he doesn't know how to grieve. But if he wanted to, he wouldn't need Tate. He could just sit at home and just, rethink his life, basically. So that's
Which
why
is
I say he doesn't need Tate, but he kind of
needs
does.
Tate.
Just because he doesn't know how to grieve, I guess that's why he latches onto him.
He needs Tate. Yeah, because that's because he can latch on to. But Tate does not need him in no shape or form.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're saying the same thing in
I,
in different ways, kind of. But yeah, yeah, I mean, it's a really messy situation that they have going on, but we'll see how it plays out. But let's get to into the ending then. So, throughout this whole season so far, we've seen Jamie, he's calling Angela because he wants to talk and everything. He's feeling very vulnerable, emotional, and he just wants her to talk to, because he still kind of has some love for her. And of course, at the end of the episode, when they see each other, he has those puppy dog eyes that he only has for her. And Angela, she shows up, she calls him, and she says, "Let's meet up." Now we know, obviously, that Angela is now in a very vulnerable state now, because the Jimenez thing is gone. She's under investigation. So what is going to come of this reunion now that they've kind of met up with each other? I mean, I assume they're going to end up sleeping together, just by the way the way it ended with the lady serving them. She was like, "Oh, what do you guys want?" And there was just that moment of silence kind of thing, and it's like, okay, I assume they're gonna do it. Um, but yeah, what's actually gonna come of this union at this point in time now? What do you think?
well, we know the obvious. It's going to be a whole feeling it on your booty scene right there that it's going to be really happy about. But I think that they're going to end up depending on each other because they're both lonely and they both have no one. They've just locked out of everything. And Dre's dealing with, not Dre, Jamie's dealing with Dre that he can't kill at the moment for some reason, because the writers are like, no, we're not going to kill him. Because remember, he was supposed to die in the first episode, but they keep stretching this out. So they're going to just end up relying on each other and become, two best friends. I do. I just see them just talking and sleeping around with each other and just, finding that type of comfort with each other. But it'll be short lived because Angela's going down.
Yeah, see, I don't know, like, what direction they're gonna go in here, but I think the two of them teaming up, they could manipulate a whole lot of things on both sides. Like, because I feel like Jamie can give her the strength, the motivation to kind of manipulate her colleagues, and um, he can do a lot of legwork for her as well, and like do things in terms of hiding evidence and things that they're using against her and stuff like that. And she can kind of help him on the street front and with Tate and everything, just by giving him a lot of legal advice, and maybe even manipulating it so that cops will bust certain people like Dre or whoever, like. So I think if they choose to actually team up and work together at this point, there's a lot they could do together, and they can flip the script on everyone. But I don't think that's gonna happen. I think that I just don't know, like, because there's too many threads going on in the show at the moment, and I feel like that's too much of a convenient
Hmm.
solution to it. So that's probably not going to happen. So I'm interested to see what actually is going to happen between them and how this reunion is, is going to benefit either of them. Um, because like there's a lot of history between them already, and there's a lot of dirt that was done on both sides, and just being around Jamie has kind of hurt Angela's career, and that's the whole reason they're investigating her,
Right.
because of him. So it's like I don't see how it benefits her being around Jamie unless they're going to kind of do some dirt together and fix everything. So I don't
But
know.
just I don't even know how they can fix everything because the feds are already on Angela. Angela can't technically be seen in public with him
Hmm.
because they're on her case everywhere she goes. So I don't see this being some type of long term relationship. Maybe it's just a one off, and that's just it. They're both lonely. They need someone at that moment, and they finally answered each other's text messages.
Yeah.
That's just it.
I think it's a bit deeper than that, but I don't know. Like what I don't know if what I said is actually going to happen because, like I said, it's too convenient. Um, but I don't know. I think something is going to happen uh between them, and they're going to probably work together in some way, but it probably won't be a long-term thing. And I don't know. Like it's weird. Anything can happen at this point. So
Yeah, anything can happen, but I just don't see it just being long lasting, unless this is like their final friendship hookup moment after because they'll just be taken down. He has to stay clean, and she has to, not communicate with him. They both can't be with each other, but for some strange reason, every time they're lonely, they just seem to be more attracted to each other. And I think that could be both of their downfalls. Uh, who
mm,
knows?
yeah, I mean, maybe she'll even get in Jamie's ear and let him know that if he wants to save himself, he has to get rid of Tommy, again, like because she kind of did that before where she told him he had to distance himself from Tommy because she wanted to, like, at that point in time, she wanted to track down Tommy and bring him in as Ghost. So
Yeah.
maybe she'll try and do that again and cause a rift between, Jamie and Tommy again. But I don't
Well,
know.
that rift is
Like,
happening. I do believe no matter what, that rift is going to happen.
yeah. Yeah, I feel I don't know. Like I don't know if that's a good thing to happen now though, because we had that. Like remember there was the point where Tommy had to kill Jamie, like Lobos was making Tommy have to kill Jamie and stuff. Like I feel like we've had that rift already. So it's like doing it again, it's a bit like we've seen this already. But I just don't know where else it could go, Like it's really weird at this point. It's
Or unless she has to end up escaping. Maybe they do, you know, hook up and confide in each other, and the feds find out, and the only way for her to live a life without going to jail is for her to run away and never be seen again.
Yeah. I think the only thing that could really save her is by giving up Jamie and Tommy. So
But is she willing to do that?
I
That
don't
is
think
what
so
so
because I think they genuinely love each other. So I think that will always stop her. So that's the thing.
they have that connection. No matter what, they seem to gravitate back to each other.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's so many different threads going on in this show right now. It's really hard to predict what's gonna happen. So we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. But was there anything else specific from today's episode that you wanted to mention or bring up or
No,
theorize?
That whole scene between Dre and Ghost was just freaking hilarious to me. It was just downright funny.
Yeah, his expressions. Like his expressions changed so quickly because like he went from acting like he was happy to see Dre, and then all of a sudden he was just like, "I'm gonna kill this motherfucker." Like the
No,
expression he had like is funny.
no, but
It's hilarious.
walked in and he seemed like be all right. Like all right, I'm happy. And then he saw Dre and it was like, what? It was the last person you ever think you would see. And Dre was just like, hi, happy to see you again. What's up? I'm still alive.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was just odd. But I hope they don't turn this into like a Super Friends thing like they did with Kanan and Tommy and Dre.
yeah, like
With it.
that's really weird. Like the fact that he now has to work with him, but he's meant to be killing him. Like that is just super weird. 'Cause-
It's the writing is a little awkward. I don't understand where they're going with all of this and these weird team ups that they're having. I don't get it.
Oh, and also one like we need to address this. What how many clubs are there and who owns these clubs? Like, because I really don't understand anymore. Like, because one minute it's Dre and the Jimenez in the club, then it's like Jamie and Tate. Like, what is it like? Do they all own a club? Like, I don't know what's going on. Like,
You got the no.
it's
It's
confusing.
New York City has a lot of clubs.
But
I
like,
don't know.
it
They're all
looks
like
it's literally the same club. Like, it's the same
a
setup.
lot of clubs. A lot of clubs in New York City look alike. I don't know. Are these like on the record clubs, random off the book clubs? I inherited a club. I don't get it. Maybe it's like a warehouse that I just turned for a pop-up club. It's random.
Because me and Rich was talking about this, like if it's meant to be the same club and like but like Jamie owns it, Tay owns it, and Dre owns it, like they would have crossed paths so many times. So it's like that's a big plot hole right there. Like just the fact that they're
I mean,
supposed to be killing each other.
you
But
can have a club and
it has
not
to
be.
be it has to be a different club. Like but why is there two clubs? I don't remember Jamie owning another club. Like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need to go back and watch last season or something.
I don't even know why the club hasn't been seized by the DEA by the DA by now, or DEA, or anyone, narcotics, anybody. Why has this club not been seized? I don't get it. It's just odd.
Yeah, it's weird. Angelwood, I know you leave a lot of you drop a lot of gems, a lot of knowledge in the comments. So please clear this up for us because I really want to know like what are these clubs and who owns them and why are they never running into each other if it's the same club? Like that's what I want to know. Because there was that one scene, I think in episode 2 or something, where Jamie walks into the club, he sees Dre talking to Jimenez, and he's got like an angry face, and then he walks out, and I'm like, okay, that's really weird. Like, is this the same club that you was at with Tate, or is this like you just going to Dre's club just to like watch him? Like, I really didn't understand. So yeah, somebody needs to clear that up for me because I'm confused now. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Just don't know. They own all the clubs.
Yeah, they might as well just throw in the Luke Cage club as well. Like
They own the club too. Luke Cage, remember he's didn't want to run his club, so he's
that
gonna
that
just turn it over to
that show
Jamie
is
and it.
that show is pretty much power now anyway. So yeah,
Yes, that is season 3. Will just be Power. It'll be a crossover episode.
they really need to do that. Like that'll be hilarious.
Oh,
But yeah, I mean that's everything I wanted to touch on this week. So you guys listening, definitely leave your thoughts, your theories, your comments, and everything. And let us know what you think. Hopefully next week we'll have the full cast. I will actually be in New York, so
no.
I still plan to try and make the show, but anything can happen, and I might not be here. So We'll see how that plays out. But for now, definitely make sure you're checking out the coalition.com. That's coalition spelled with a K. And check out all the video game news, reviews, interviews, all the different TV show discussions we have. And subscribe to the YouTube page, like this video and everything. You can subscribe to the Powercast on iTunes as well if you would rather just listen to audio. So go and do that. And that's pretty much it from us. So until next week, Dana, say goodbye.
Goodbye, Dana.
Goodbye.